All right, folks. Today we're tackling an issue that's plagued dads, laundry hampers, and misguided fashion critiques for decades. Dad underwear. You know the type. Full coverage, high-waisted, zero fluff utility briefs. The ones that scream comfort over aesthetics. But why, dear listeners, has this noble garment been dragged through the mud of mockery? It is time for a cultural redemption arc. Question mark. Let's discuss this and more after the break, but first, let's coffee break. Hello again and welcome back. Segment 1, the comedy of shame. Dad underwear, the punchline that refuses to die. It's a cultural scapegoat, a comedic shorthand for aging, practicality, and apparently a complete rejection of style. But where did this mockery begin, and why has society collectively decided that traditional white briefs deserve a permanent seat in the Hall of Fame? There is an unspoken rule. We're talking about pop culture's favorite target. There's an unspoken rule in sitcoms and comedy films. If a character is caught wearing boxy, unfashionable briefs or traditional tighty-whities, it's an automatic laugh. Think back to the hapless TV dad strolling through the house in his oversized white underwear, completely oblivious to his own, in parentheses, uncoolness, while his kids cringe in horror. From The Simpsons to Seinfeld, the sight of sagging cotton has been a reliable gag, an emblem of peak dad energy, comfortable, unbothered, and deeply unfashionable. Advertisers weren't much kinder. The rise of sleeker, trendier underwear meant that classic dad briefs were cast as the relic of men who had given up, myself included. I'm one of those ones that was considered giving up. I doubt that. Anyways, the message was clear. Real men wear low-rise, form-fitting styles is the message then or now. Dad underwear, meanwhile, was condemned to grocery store bulk packs. Can you imagine? Grocery store bulk packs, hidden away from the glossy displays of stylish alternatives. So let's look at the psychology of the cringe. But why the visceral reaction? Why does dad underwear evoke such exaggerated embarrassment? I mean, seriously. Part of it is generational. Young people desperately clinging to their youthful aesthetic who see traditional white briefs as a glimpse into their inevitable future. One day, they too might prioritize comfort over aesthetics, and that thought is terrifying to them. There's also a misplaced association with laziness. The idea that dad underwear signals a lack of care about appearance, about trends, about trying, is deeply ingrained. It's not just underwear, my friends. It's a statement, a resignation, an embrace of pure utility stripped of social currency. So, is it a rite of passage? Here's the twist. Is dad underwear truly a symbol of shame, or is it actually a mark of wisdom? The day someone makes the switch, abandoning tight fits, novelty prints, and unnecessary discomfort, perhaps they've reached a higher plane of self-acceptance by wearing the dreaded dad underwear. What if dad underwear isn't an ending, but a new beginning? A moment of clarity where one realizes that trends are fleeting, but soft, breathable cotton is forever, man. If dad sneakers made a comeback, why not dad underwear? Excuse me. Maybe it's time for a rebrand. Maybe, just maybe, the joke's been on us all along. Or at least those of you who made the switch back in the day from the dad underwear to the sleeker, trendier stuff of today. Okay, so here's a nightmare sequence, a glimpse into the future. Imagine this. A young hipster from today who is a style-conscious individual wakes up in a cold sweat, having experienced the horror of horrors. His dream or nightmare was vivid and terrifying. In this nighttime terror, he sees an older version of himself standing in front of a mirror, clad in high-waisted, full-cut traditional dad briefs. The waistband is unforgiving. The cotton is excessive. Suddenly, he panics, scrambling for his low-rise designer boxers, but it's too late. The dad underwear has claimed him. The horror, the resignation. Then, mercifully, he wakes up, clutching his sleek, trend-approved underwear. But deep down, the seed of doubt has been planted. The future is inevitable. Is this going to be me 40 years from now? He asks himself. I am doomed. Pop culture's relentless mockery. Dad underwear has endured decades of cinematic and television humiliation. It's been the visual shorthand for uncool dad energy in everything from The Simpsons, Homer Simpson strutting around in saggy tighty whities, to Friends' Joey's horrified reaction to Chandler's overly practical choices. Somewhere along the way, the narrative was cemented. If you wear these, you have either A, given up, or B, become a father overnight. Imagine that. I mean, that's not a bad thing. Becoming a father is a great thing. Some of us don't do it well, but it is a great thing. I know. But wait, has dad underwear ever slipped into ironic fashion statements? In the age of thrifted dad sneakers and retro tracksuits, could the revival be closer than we think? Imagine a hipster streetwear brand suddenly announcing the ultimate comfort collection featuring none other than traditional white briefs with dramatic rebranding, heritage, fit, unapologetic utility, a new era are some of the ways that they are describing this retro product. The irony loops in on itself. Okay, so here's a dramatic Shakespearean defense. What would William Shakespeare say in defense of traditional white briefs if those were what he preferred? He would say, I think, this. What fools we are to mock the wise! For in the soft embrace of high-waisted cotton lines lies the pinnacle of comfort, the rejection of frivolous trends, the acceptance of one's true form. Is it not the destiny of all men to one day abandon vanity, to forsake comfort for the practicality of breathability? Let not thy judgment be clouded by fleeting fashion, but open thine heart to the wisdom of the fatherly bold. Okay, let's move on to segment 2, the practicality argument. Now, let's take a look at the practicality argument. Picture this. You wake up, reach for your designated sleepwear, or in this case, the trusty traditional dad briefs. No awkward waistband digs, no riding up, no unnecessary fabric drama. Just breathable, reliable cotton doing exactly what it was designed to do. Now ask yourself, why have we collectively turned this pinnacle of practicality into an object of shame? Because it's too comfortable? Because it prioritizes function over form? Because it doesn't demand validation from the ever-changing whims of fashion? Some might say dad underwear represents surrender. But those who know, truly know, understand it's actually liberation, or it's actual liberation. Enter the dad underwear loyalists, the quiet but unwavering advocates who refuse to be swayed by fashion's fickle nature. These are the brave souls like myself who scoff at trendy microbriefs, reject the tyranny of tight fabrics, and embrace full coverage glory with the confidence of a man unbothered. We need their stories. People who have chosen practicality over style, who dared to opt for unrestricted comfort. Imagine a round table discussion that goes like this. Person number 1. I used to waste money on overpriced designer underwear. Then I found a bulk pack of dad briefs at the supermarket. Life-changing. Person number 2. I never understood the appeal until I turned 30 and realized that waistbands weren't supposed to hurt. And person number 3. You laugh now, but the day you switch, you'll understand, and you'll never go back. Now, let's get philosophical, my friends. Do we ever truly escape the pressure of appearances? Or the pressures of appearance? Can comfort alone override the social expectations of how one should present themselves? The resurgence of dad sneakers, cargo pants, and retro windbreakers, which were my favorites, the windbreakers, tells us that occasionally function can reclaim its place in fashion. But can dad underwear achieve the same comeback? I believe that it is so because I said that about the short shorts, not real short shorts, but just what we're wearing today. I knew that one day that would come back. People used to tell me all the time, you need to stop wearing those. I kept saying, no, it's what I like. Just like the traditional dad underwear. It's what I like to wear. They're functional, they're comfortable, they serve their purpose. I'm not going to change because I knew in my heart eventually, like everything else, cyclical, whatever, call it retro, it was going to come back. And what happened? They came back. So, could a rebrand work? Could marketing geniuses reclaim the narrative, transforming dad underwear from resigned practicality to unapologetic comfort culture? Imagine the ad campaign saying this: for too long, we have suffered waistband tyranny. The time for breathable cotton is now. Okay, moving on to segment 3. Fashion cycles. Could dad underwear be next? Dad sneakers were ridiculed for decades. Chunky, practical, and unmistakably unfashionable, until one day, the sneaker industry pulled off the impossible. They rebranded them as retro, iconic, heritage-inspired. Suddenly, the same clunky footwear that once signaled suburban resignation became the hottest thing on runways and Instagram. So, why not dad underwear? If fashion is cyclical, the comeback has to happen eventually. All it takes is one daring designer, one celebrity endorsement, one ironic revival movement, one brave soul to shift perception. Imagine traditional white briefs as a statement piece, branded as confidence wear, celebrating the no-nonsense approach to personal style. Could it be a matter of time before influencers start posting carefully curated laid-back essentials featuring the humble dad brief in a TikTok fashion revolution, or maybe on a podcast? Here's the issue. Comfort has never been the default champion in fashion. People willingly suffer through stiff denim, impractical cuts, and suffocating fabrics just to project the right image. But comfort has been winning more lately. The rise of athleisure, oversized fits, and breathable fabrics suggests we might be leaning toward a cultural reckoning. Society could finally embrace comfort, first design, and let dad underwear reign in peace. Would it require minor tweaks? A sleeker waistband, slightly trendier color choices, or does the true victory lie in wearing them exactly as they are? White, unapologetic, and unchanged. I say go with white, unapologetic, and unchanged. Luxury is often built on exclusivity. But what if we redefine it? Luxury. Could dad underwear be elevated to an elite status, sold not as bulk packs, but as high-end essentials? Imagine a premium brand stepping in, organic cotton, reinforced seams, absurdly high price tags, and suddenly high-waisted comfort becomes aspirational. Could we reach the day where dad briefs sit next to overpriced designer pieces, hailed for their heritage craftsmanship and unmatched practicality? I think so. One can only hope. Segment 4, the philosophical layer. At some point in life, a shift happens, not necessarily at once, but gradually, quietly. A person begins choosing the comfortable sneakers over the stylish ones. They favor practical coats over trendy jackets. And then one day, they reach for traditional white briefs without hesitation and without shame. Is this resignation or is it freedom? Have they given up on aesthetic posturing or have they finally embraced life on their own terms? There's a power in the moment one stops dressing for others and starts dressing for themselves. Hello? When dad underwear ceases to be a secret shame and becomes a declaration, I wear what serves me, not what pleases fashion culture, which was my response one time, although not as short as that was, in the gym, when somebody turned to me and said, are you still wearing tidy whities? Like I had just committed the biggest sin in the world? Dude, let me set you straight. And I did. Okay, so for generations, society has dictated that looking good matters, that trends define status, that discomfort is an acceptable price for validation. But who benefits from this? Not the wearer, only the industry that profits from insecurity. So what happens when someone breaks free? When they decide that breathable fabric and full coverage outweigh trend cycles? Is dad underwear the final frontier of self-actualization? Perhaps dad underwear is not a symbol of decline, but of enlightenment, a realization that life is just too short to suffer through tight waistbands and overpriced branding, that the loudest statement one can make is to ignore the noise entirely. In a world obsessed with curated appearances, I like those words, a curated appearance. Maybe dad underwear is the final act of defiance. I love it. The quiet rejection of uncomfortable expectations, the silent stand against societal pressure. Maybe the ultimate flex isn't in wearing the latest trends, but in unbothered practicality. Maybe dad underwear is wisdom, the hidden knowledge passed from one generation to the next, to truth waiting to be embraced. And maybe, just maybe, the real question isn't why dad underwear gets mocked, but why we ever feared it in the first place. In conclusion, let's face it, history will judge us, and we must ask ourselves, do we want to be remembered as the generation that ignored breathable cotton for the false promise of uncomfortable aesthetics? The era that mocked practicality only to one day crawl back, waistband chafed and dignity bruised, seeking the comfort we once ridiculed? No, dear listener, we must choose wisdom. We must embrace the quiet brilliance of dad underwear before it embraces us. Consider the great revolutions of our time, movements that rejected oppression, defied arbitrary standards, fought for true liberation, and now a new uprising beckons, not one of grand speeches or political upheaval, but one fought in dresser drawers and supermarket bulk packs. Let us cast aside the waistband tyranny. Let us reclaim our right to unrestricted movement and full covered security. Let us, without shame, without hesitation, accept the great truth that fashion is fleeting, but dad underwear is forever. And if one day you find yourself standing before the mirror, clad in high-waisted glory, and you sigh in relief instead of despair, know that you have won. Go forth, dear listener, live boldly, sit comfortably, and never fear the fold of the fatherly fabric. Happy Father's Day.